How are we going to defeat feminism? By teaching our sons and daughters to be virtuous. How are we going to defeat gender ideology? With education at home. How are we going to defeat LGBT activism and entire woke agenda? Illegal prisons, judicial dictatorship, censorship, and persecution of opponents are the pains Brazil is feeling right now.
Pessoal, Nikolas Ferreira, o deputado da direita, talvez um dos mais promissores que nós temos no Brasil. Ele fez um discurso brilhante no Senado da Espanha e é o que a gente vai acompanhar a partir de agora. Sem enrolação, eu já vou jogar na tela. Olha, compartilhem muito esse vídeo, pessoal. Deixem um like aqui embaixo e te inscreve no canal, porque o que o Nikolas vai falar aqui agora foi para o mundo inteiro ouvir. Vejam só.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here in Madrid among giants who fight the same battle as I do in different countries to defend the family, which under God is my greatest love. Livia, my wife, Aurora, my daughter, I love you. Today I would like to share a reflection that has been shaped by my personal journey in the study of the moral and social foundations that sustain human dignity. Recently, I have taken on two roles that have transformed my view of the world, as husband and as a father. These responsibilities have taught me something essential. The transformation of society begins within each of us, especially within our families. The family, this small institution, is where the deepest bonds are formed with the fewest number of people. It's within this core that values such as virtue, love, and compassion can be cultivated in the most profound and authentic way. If each family lives their values with integrity, the social fabric will be transformed in a genuine and lasting way. However, the society we desire will not be built without a solid foundation. And this foundation lies in human rights, in natural values, and in the understanding that the freedom and justice walk hand in hand. This is where a crucial point comes in. Human rights, so often exalted in speeches, have been distorted. What should be a pillar of protecting dignity has in many cases become a tool of manipulation and arbitrariness. This happens because we have strayed from the roots of these rights, natural law which recognizes and respects the objective order of the human condition. Let's look after history. From the ideals of the French Revolution to the horrors of totalitarian regimes, we learn that the noblest intentions can be corrupted when disconnected from solid moral foundations. Revolutionaries dreamed of absolute equality, but their efforts culminated in the centralization of power and oppression. Similarly, communist and positivist regimes turned law into an instrument of force, ignoring human dignity in the name of distorted ideals. And here lies their intersection with our individual lives. The deterioration of values we see in the society, whether in governments, politics, or institutions, is a direct reflection of the lack of individual responsibility. We often wait for change to come from distant systems, leaders, or organizations. However, true transformations begins in the heart of each person, within each home. These transformations requires the courage to face our own weakness and cultivate virtues in our everyday life. The extraordinary is made in the ordinary. It is in the small gestures of responsibility, love, and sacrifice that we build a solid foundation for society. If each individual fulfills their role, their family will become a nucleus of virtue, and thus the whole will be regenerated. In politics, for example, we see how the detachment for morality produces mediocre leaders, incapable of dealing with real challenges. The same happens in education, where many seek only titles, forgetting their true excellence lies in serving others and cultivating wisdom. This cycle of mediocrity can only be broken when we understand that the true progress is not found in the pursuit of external recognition, but in the internal commitment to the common good. Therefore, the call to action is clear. We need to return to the foundations both individually and socially. We must strive to live according to natural law and the words of Jesus Christ, who teaches us to distinguish the just from the unjust, the honest from the vile. This means abandoning complacency, stopping the blame of external systems, and taking responsibility as children of God in the political arena. He is my greatest reference, and I affirm, if we look to him and not to ourselves, it is certain that we will find refuge from the pains of this world. Illegal prisons, Judicial dictatorship, censorship, and persecution of opponents are the pains Brazil is feeling right now. And many are standing strong because they are fully convinced that we are just passing through this life. But we will pass with courage, perseverance, and faith. Because as a saying in my country goes, I'm a Brazilian, and I never give up. So, how are you going to defeat abortion? Not only by defending life, but creating life. How are we going to defeat feminism? By teaching our sons and daughters to be virtuous. How are we going to defeat gender ideology? With education at home. How are we going to defeat LGBT activism and entire woke agenda? Everything goes in one direction, family. That's why it's so important to return to our individual responsibility. Because we do not want to create families just to signal virtue and leave our children in the school for 6-8 hours a day in the hands of the state. No. We want to form families to, above all, lead our children to heaven. And while they are here, they will be protected by us. Strong families, strong nation. We need to show the world that being conservative and having a family, it's so much better than the artificial and empty life that the left sells as if it was success. The real challenge is not living life as a slave to our own desires and doing what makes you happy, but rather sacrificing every day to keep your family strong enough to resist this corrupt world. Even with all the daily attacks from the left, which are many, of course, our mission is made in the day-to-day, when no one is watching, when our character is forged and we are building ourselves. And since we are part of a world, this individual construction matters a lot. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest enemy is not outside of us. It's not a political system, an ideology, or an institution. The greatest challenges lies within ourselves, in the fight against our sins, our vices, and in the constant pursuit of virtue. May we face this challenge with responsibility and an understanding of the gravity of our actions. After all, they can transform the world. Love, fight, and live this life with the intensity it deserves. The voice of many, not the agenda of a few. We will prevail. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Tá aí, né, pessoal? Espetacular o discurso feito por Nikolas Ferreira para o mundo, lá no Senado da Espanha. Olha que discurso brilhante, hein, gente? Bom, tá aí então. Não se esqueçam, né, gente? Compartilhem muito. Nikolas é, sem dúvidas nenhuma, aí, um dos jovens mais promissores que nós temos na política, principalmente falando da nossa direita, não é mesmo? Vou ficando por aqui. Até o nosso próximo vídeo no canal Debate em Foco.